I hope you enjoyed this
my name is Mrs.
Weisburn
Michael,
Day
and
of
I'm the
Science
science teacher.
experiment.
Today, I'm
If you
gonna
had
teach
fun,
how
you
to
can
make
leave a
butter.
comment below
It is super
or
easy.
send an
It
email
really
to
only takes 1.5 ingredients,
info@weisburnedfoundation.org.
and it's nice because then you know everything that's going into your food. It's also great for if you have a lot of kids with energy around and it's time to burn it off. You can have them actually help by making a part of the meal for you and burn some energy off at the same time. The only things that you need are some heavy whipping cream and a container with a good lid. It can be glass or plastic. If you're using plastic, you can use a marble or a glass disc to put in there to help agitate it, so to help mix it around a little bit more. You don't have to do that, it just tends to make it faster. If you are using a glass container, if you're using a mason jar or a baby food jar, do not put the glass disc in there because it can break the jar. So I know that this container that I have is about a 1 cup measuring cup, or it's about 1 cup. So I'm gonna fill it about halfway. You need to only fill whatever container you have halfway because you need a lot of room for it to be able to shake and to have the change happen. You're also going to need some salt. You don't need a whole bunch right now, but it just sort of helps to get the process going and to have some base flavoring. So I'm just going to do 2 or 3 little shakes. Except you'll also see I have some paper towels because the paper towels tend to help because this can get a little bit messy. Really make sure it's in there tight. There we go. So all together, you're gonna have to shake this for a couple minutes. Depending on how much you have is how long you're gonna have to shake. Normally I do about half a cup of whipped cream, and so it takes me about 10 minutes or so without an agitator. So without the marble or the disc. If you have it, it's gonna be a shorter time. So the first thing that when you shake it, it's gonna sound like you're shaking liquid. And that's fine. You want it to kind of sound like it. And it's going to sound like that for about 2 minutes or so. And then all of a sudden you're going to keep on shaking, 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 and you're not going to hear anything while you're shaking, which is kind of crazy. So I'm going to start shaking. I'll fast forward because no one needs to watch me shake this for 10 minutes. You hear? It's like with it. All of a sudden, I can't hear anything. So when it's like that, if you want, you can take a sneaky peek. Is this gonna be better? No. But remember what we were using? Heavy whipping cream. Which means, right now, we have turned it into whipped cream, which is fun. But we don't want whipped cream now. But this shows that we've already changed it from a liquid to a solid, but now it's time to keep on going. So if you didn't put the salt in it ahead of time, you can take a little spoon and taste it. It's not gonna taste very sweet because remember, it's just the cream, and make sure that you close it all up before you start shaking again. So now when you keep on shaking, it's gonna sound like nothing, and all of a sudden you're gonna start to hear sloshing again. It's gonna sound kind of like how it was before. That means that you're getting close, but you're not there yet. Let's keep going. Sorry. Do you hear that? That means we're getting close. We're getting really close. Oh no! Once you see that, that means you're ready. Open it up. And look at what we have. So we've got butter and this weird liquid. Did we put any liquid in there before? No. So this is what we call buttermilk. So I have another container. I'm going to pour out the buttermilk. But keep the butter in there. Take a look at that. So I'm going to shake it just a little bit more, just to try to make sure we get all of that buttermilk out of our butter. You can keep it in there, but it really helps if it's out. Again, make sure it's all sealed up tight. Okay. Open it up again. And take a look at our butter. So what you can do now is I generally kind of rinse this in the sink for a little bit. Not a little bit, but just pour a little bit and sort of rub it out, because you want to get as much of the liquid out, the buttermilk out. And then I will wrap it in some saran wrap, because it's definitely butter, but it's still pretty soft. So you can definitely keep it like this. I'll mix some herbs like some dried thyme and oregano and parsley and basil and just make it a fancy, fancy herb spread. My son loves it with just some more salt on it. So what I do generally at this point is I'll pour a little bit more salt on it, shake it up, put it in a piece of saran wrap, wrap it up and put it in the fridge, because obviously it's very, very soft right now. But you made butter. You changed it from a solid, or from a liquid all the way to a solid, and you have some parts. So this was about half a cup, and I have about a third a cup of buttermilk. So if you're doing this for Thanksgiving and you're making biscuits, for example, you now have some homemade buttermilk.
I hope you enjoyed this Weisburn Day of Science experiment. If you had fun, you can leave a comment below or send an email to info@weisburnedfoundation.org.